Hey, what's up, guys? Ryan here with Worship Artistry, and just wanted to do a quick little video about Omnisphere and the live mode and creating stacks. I still see a lot of people who are just now getting into Omnisphere, which is great that you guys are jumping on board. And when you do that, there's a lot that can probably be overwhelming about Omnisphere. And one of the things that I keep seeing people ask a lot of questions about is stacks, zones, live mode, and that sort of thing. And just want to take a quick little moment. I'm getting ready to set up a new song that we're going to teach on Worship Artistry, Another in the Fire by Hillsong United. And I've got my Pro Tools session already set up here, and you can do this in whatever whatever your host is. If you're doing it in main stage, if you're doing it just in standalone mode, whatever it might be, you can create all these stacks and everything. It'll all be within Omnisphere. And so I just wanted to show you a quick little what that kind of looks like. And so there's several different sounds they use in this track. So I'm going to pull a couple in that I've already worked on and tweaked so that you can see how it works. So the first one, first thing that I do when I open it up is I go to my multi-tab here and I turn on live mode. So I'm going to turn on the power button, and then I immediately come over here to the plus sign and click it. And I come down to stack mode note regions. And what that means is that it's going to engage both live mode and stack mode. Now, even though the power button here for stack mode is not turned on, live mode is utilizing these regions here. So as you can see, there are 4 zones that are within this. And typically what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add all 8 parts, so that way it's there and ready, and then you can come in here and basically what you do is you customize your zones. So whatever is lit up, these are the zones that you're using on those certain parts. So as you can see, I've kind of created some zones there, and you can also do some pretty cool things with it, like you can fade your zone. So instead of just having a hard cutoff here, if you grab the top corner and you start to do this, it allows you to fade in on that zone, which is kind of cool if you're getting kind of bottom heavy or top heavy and you want to fade those couple of notes down just a little bit. You can do that. And so again, first thing I do, I just come to the multi-tab here, come to live mode, turn it on, click on the little plus symbol here, the little search guy. This is your settings for live mode. Come down and turn on stack mode note regions, and then move over to stack mode, and I go ahead and I add all 8 parts. So now basically this is set up. If I go back to live mode and get out of this, what you see here is you can use this by setting it up with a keyboard, or what I like to do is use my iPad. And what you see here is exactly what's showing on my iPad right now. And I can toggle between this screen and this screen. So actually, this is what I'm looking at on my iPad. And as you'll see, I'm not going to use my mouse. I'm actually clicking on my iPad. And as you can see, these guys are beginning to change. And if I want to, I can add in several at a time, or these, or these. And that kind of gives you an idea of how you can come in and you can add certain sounds and basically start creating a stack, which is a little bit more complex than just a simple stack. Now, if you want to create just a simple stack that doesn't have any zones or anything like that, you can come back once you come over and you start loading up your sounds. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off live mode just for the moment so you can see this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to search for, let's see, I want Sydney full C7 mod. So this is a spin on the Yamaha piano that's in Keyscape. Got it sounding as close to what they're using on this specific song as possible. And as you can see, I've got several different versions of it here. Radio means that there's a radio plug-in, that AM kind of sound. Full is just full out, not really a whole lot of changes to it. And then mod means that I've modified it somehow, probably with some chorus and that sort of thing. So right now, if I play, you can see and hear that it's playing all that. come all the way down to the bottom of the keyboard, and I can go all the way up to the top. So that's giving you the full range of the keyboard. If I jump over, let's see, to the stack, you can see down here as I play the notes that are lighting up. So I can come all the way down. That's as far down on your 88 key keyboard as you can go. You can see all those start to light up. So that's covering the entire range of the keyboard, even though the stack mode is not turned on. I'm also going to come in here and I'm going to grab an organ, and I'm just going to grab this ballad organ. And what you'll notice right off is whenever I play, you're still hearing the piano. And the reason for that is because if you go to your multi in your mixer, you'll see right off whenever I play that the piano is sounding but the organ is not. The reason for that is because of the way this is set up. Basically, your channel 1 is for your first part, channel 2, and that sort of thing. What you have to do in order to create just a simple stack is come over here and on channel 2 change it to channel 1. Now both of them are going in on the same basically MIDI channel there. You've got 1 through 16. And you can also change your outputs. A through H are basically just 8 separate outputs that you can send all these to. Most of the time you're not going to deal with that unless you really did want to get into doing basically a multi-track out kind of thing, whether that's studio or live. So you're probably just going to stick with out A, and I've got it set to channel 1 on both. So what I can do here is I can mute the piano and just hear the organ. Or I can mute the organ to hear the piano. And that's the way you create a simple stack. So you can come in here and you can layer up, if you wanted a piano and an EP, a nice soft pad, some strings, you can do all that. And then these are your volume controls for it. You can also do some pan if you add some effects into your aux, like some reverb and that sort of thing. This is where your aux is to send it to it. So that's creating a simple stack. But I typically don't do it this way because I want to have zones. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to clear the multi, and that is just going to basically reset everything back to default. So as you can see, it all says empty. So I'll come over here on the piano, I'll load up the piano there, and then on the second one I'll come over and add in the ballad organ. I'll also come over to multi, to the live, and I'll turn on live mode, make sure that note regions are turned on, and then what you can see, I can either turn on the piano or the organ or both. And then I can control the volume. And all of that I was doing was just right off my iPad, which you can't see my iPad, but it's the same screen. I'm just doing it using my hands to do it. And then on the stack, what is really nice about this is that you can utilize the stack mode in order to create kind of complex regions, and that way you can combine different sounds at different points and then play only where you want them to play. And so, for instance, on the piano, I really just want the piano to cover the low end. So whenever I play down here, so basically I want that A right there to be my lowest note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here, bottom corner of that zone, I'm going to drag it all the way over. And basically, you can see these divisions, these vertical divisions. Basically, that's going to be C. And so like right here, if I had it there, that'd be on a C. That'd be B, B flat, A. So if I were to drag it one more and play A, you can hear the organ. I'll turn it off. You can't hear the A because I don't have it in the zone. So I'm going to pull it back one. So now the piano is only covering this section of the piano, the lower end of the piano, while the organ covers all of it. So now I can turn both of them on and play them at the same time, and you'll only hear the piano on the low end. And I'll go ahead and pull the organ up just a little. So there you can see how it's really it's not very difficult to create a little bit more complex stack using zones. That way you can really filter things down, make the sound a whole lot cleaner rather than having everything, just play the entire time. Now there are times where you may want, like a piano and strings and pad all to cover the same amount of the keyboard, and you can leave that wide open just like this ballad organ, these two empties are. Typically, once I get all my sounds loaded up that I'm going to use, if I have empties, I'll just come in here and I'll say remove this part just to clean it up. But that way you can see how you've got your stack. I've got a zone here. If I wanted to, I could just drop off the ballad organ, bring it up here to the note right above the piano if I want to, or maybe I don't want it to be that low. I'll just drop it on C because I don't need it anywhere else. And now when I play, as you can see, the organ isn't sounding down here. It'll sound here, but when I play B, it doesn't sound. It's on C. So again. But you might want to have just a little bit more beef in that sound, and you can open it all the way up. Now you might want that organ to sound all the way down there, but that could be a little bit muddy, and you don't want to get too muddy down there. So you would come over to the ballad organ part here, to your effects, and then what I like to do is throw in a 12-band graphic EQ, and that way you can begin to roll off the low end. So if you come just to the ballad organ, you kind of hear how that is. I can turn up the really low part, the 63 hertz, and the 125. See how that turns it up? You can thin that way down, even thin down the 250 a little bit. Really starts to get rid of some of that extra stuff there. So that's on the ballad organ. But you might want it to be a little bit more full, so you can start to turn those up. And that's just one way of kind of filtering out some of the low end. You can also filter out the low end utilizing your zones if you want to. So that is utilizing live mode with stack mode. Hope that kind of helps. Just to kind of recap, first thing I do is come to live mode, turn it on, go to the settings here, turn on stack mode note regions. That engages the stack mode for those regions for the live mode. And then I'll go ahead and add all 8 parts. And as you can see, when you do that, it resets everything to full. So I could come back down here and pull this down. That gives you all 8 parts ready to go. The reason that you do that is that if you don't have those parts in here and you start layering in sounds, you won't hear them play. So that's why it's important to do that first and then go back and get rid of what you don't need afterwards. And then you just load up your sound. I haven't really done anything to these sounds other than load them in and then come and kind of play around with the zones, and then in the live mode you can turn, kind of play around. I'll use my iPad here and kind of play with the volumes. As you can see here, maybe I don't want it, so I'll just completely mute it, or I can completely turn it off if I want to. So again, that's Omnisphere. This is the newest version. Let's see, what is this? 2.6. Yeah, so this is the newest version of it. which is really cool because now instead of only having 2 layers per part, you got 4 layers per part. So a lot of these sounds you can combine into one single part, which is kind of cool if you're using a specific sound over and over again that you need, like a piano and a pad that you really like. You can layer both of those together and call it a day, not have to deal with 2 separate parts. So again, this is just kind of that Omnisphere live mode, stack mode. If you got any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Hope you guys have a great day. Thanks.